Alright, what's up guys? So we're going to be playing NHL 23. This is a tips video. I don't have face cam today because I just want to make this a short video. I don't want to really set everything up. I don't want to do everything like that. Just going to do no face cam today, boy. Alright, so basically what's going to be happening is this is a tips video because things have changed since we last spoke. Now, let's get into the hybrid build. Boom. Alright, so down to 6'5". I'm always 6'5" on all my builds, first of all. So that's just a straight up fact of what's happening, okay? I'm always 6'5". Okay? 214, of course. Well, you guys don't know why 214. Okay, I forgot. You guys don't know anything yet. So, basically what's happening is mostly we're going to talk about speed and weight. And 5-hole a little bit too. Alright, those are the three main factors. We could talk about all the attributes and all that, but take this build. This build is magnificent at everything. This build is what I use when they have everything. So basically what's happening is speed doesn't really do what you think it does. Speed, I'm going to show you guys a clip that I made with two videos stacked on top of each other. Now, the two videos are me moving from the left side of the crease to the right side of the crease with two different builds, okay? So the one with low opacity, the one that you can see through, has 91 speed, and then the other one is 86 speed, okay? I'm going to show you that clip right now. So tell me which one is faster. You saw that? They both move the same exact speed. Now the one with low opacity was a little bit behind simply because if it was perfectly synced up, you wouldn't even be able to see them. So they are the exact same speed. They move in the exact same speed. No, neither one of them overpassed each other. Neither one of them was faster than the other or anything. So we know now that speed doesn't matter. Now it's the same results for 91 and 96 speed and the 96 to 99. All of it's the same. All the speed is the same. The only thing that speed changes is going to the bench. That's the only thing that speed changes. When you're skating when you press A and you move, that's the only thing that speed affects. So speed doesn't matter. Now you might be thinking, well, what changes speed? That must be agility. No, it doesn't. Agility doesn't change speed either, okay? Agility is just animations. Agility is just making up for a wrong movement and then messing you up. So I don't really like agility. I only have agility high on this build for the contortionist and post-post. That's the only reason I have 86 agility. I don't want it any higher than 86, alright? If I could just get these two attributes, post-post and contortionist, with low agility, I would have done it. I would do it, but I can't. It's not possible. So you might be thinking, what changes speed then? Well, nothing. I'm going to tell you this, though. Weight is the thing that changes movement. Weight changes... Yeah, let me show you something, okay? Let's just go into the practice mode with this build, okay? I don't really feel like changing anything of this build, so I'm not going to compare and contrast, but you guys are just going to have to trust me, and you guys can go into games, test builds with 180 weight, and then next game test it with 220. You'll see a huge, tremendous difference of movement. You'll move different. Alright, so this is my 214. I love 214. Now, the thing that weight changes, I'm going to let him score and do his thing. I'm not going to attempt to make saves or anything. I'm just going to move, so... Let's let him score one more time. Okay, shoots right into me. Okay, so you see how I'm on the left? Now, one push will get me right to the middle. Alright, with 214, one push gets me to the middle and then to the right side with another push. Okay? And then when I'm at the top of the crease, one push, middle, and then right, one push down gets me covering the post. That is why I like 214. Now with 180, your pushes are a little bit further. You push further with one push. See, like one leg movement. This is so it doesn't help you faster when you're moving, when you're holding down left stick. It's all the same speed. 214, 180, all of it is the same speed, but movement is what changes. Okay? So if I had 220 weight, the push wouldn't be as hard. I wouldn't or it would be a little bit, it would just be clunkier. It would just not be as good. The movement wouldn't be good. So I wouldn't move as far, and I would need to hold down the stick a little bit more. Your guy just feels heavier. He's the same speed, but he just feels heavier for the push. That's the difference, okay? So that's what weight does. All builds, I've tested it. I'm actually going to throw up a clip. I also made another one of seeing what weight does to the build. I did the exact same thing I did with the speed. Here's the clip. Okay, so this proves right here. Speed doesn't matter, and weight doesn't matter for speed. Weight only matters for movement of the push, not for holding it down. You push better with different weights, especially depending on your golden attribute. Your gold attribute also affects how you move a little bit, but weight affects push movements, not holding down movements, and speed doesn't do anything for you in the crease. The only thing, actually I take that back. One thing speed does is helps you with 5-hole. We mentioned 5-hole. It helps you with 5-hole. I don't know why. If you have your weight below like 85, your 5-hole is absolutely horrible. Your 5-hole just turns into just like your stick doesn't exist anymore. You just let in 5-hole goals and your guy does not go down automatically when your weight is below 85. Now, when you get to 86, 5-hole gets better. Your goalie actually starts attempting, but for me, I feel like 91 speed saves all of it. I feel like when I don't have to go down to 5-hole ever with 91 speed. The only time I go down to 5-hole is after a save, and then I push for the rebound. That's where I do it automatically. Okay? So that's just to clear some things up. Alright? Real quick, I'm going to show you all of my builds as well. This build is what I use for if the other team I'm playing against has either everything or nothing. Like if they have 1T, close quarters, big tipper, all of it. If they have everything, I'll use this build, because this build saves everything. Okay? But if they have nothing, like if they have nothing, if they only have elite edge, quick pick, stick them up, if they only have those things, then I'll use this build. If they have nothing or everything, I use this build. Now the other builds, I use this build for close quarters. Okay? I'll tell you why. If they have double close quarters or triple close quarters or whatever, I'll use this build simply because when dialed in kicks in, that's the only advantage you have over close quarters. That's the only help that you have against close quarters. And dialed in, the rebounds are magnificent, because when close quarters shoots, the rebounds place in beautiful spots for the skaters. The rebounds are horrible for the goalies when they shoot with close quarters. I feel like even before 15 saves, dialed in helps you with rebounds. It just feels better. The rebound control with dialed in before 15 saves and especially after 15 saves is magnificent. So that's why I use dialed in against close quarters. This build is just for this is my experimental build. Don't use this build. It's just for experiments and stuff. Don't use this build, please. This build is when I'm going against tips. Now, this build, the reason it's against tips is because, first of all, X-Ray is magnificent. X-Ray is probably one of the best attributes in this game. One of them. There are other ones too. Contortionist is also very good. But I don't use them in any of my builds except for the first one. I use it on the hybrid build, but I don't use it for any other build. But yeah, it's magnificent. This build is magnificent against tip shots. Because X-Ray teamed up with Tip Jar is amazing. If you only have, so let's say the build looked like this, okay? Let's say the build looked like this. This build is no longer good against tips. This build is trash against tips now. It won't save big tipper. It'll save regular tips, but it won't save big tipper, okay? Now, let's say the build looked like this. Same thing. Now this build is also not good against big tipper. Even with the golden X-ray, this build will not save big tipper anymore. The reason this build needs both of these, they both team up. both of these team up. X-Ray and Tip Jar work like Lego pieces. They just stick together perfectly. They work together against Big Tipper, and that's the only advantage you have. Because I've played with this build with just playing regular positioning. I was positioning for the shot, and the guy had Big Tipper on the side, and my goalie still corrected his animation and reached out and made the Big Tipper save multiple times. So that's why this build is for tips. This build is for 1T. Okay? Now you might notice this build has 200 pounds. And the reason is because I need the push to be better. I need my push to be a little bit more exaggerated against 1T. That's why I have it at 200 pounds, and no timer is... When you have a golden attribute against another golden attribute, it all evens out back to 0. So let's say they have golden 1T against my golden no timer, it all equals up to a regular 1 timer at that point, as long as I position correctly and am fast enough with the sticks. Now, same with silver stuff. If they have a silver... I'm not sure about Big Tipper. Big Tipper seems like to be its own different craziness, to where it's just better than everything else. But let's say I have... Just imagine... When I do it with... Let's just imagine no timers in this silver category. Just use your imagination and imagine no timers in the silver category. If it's there, then if I have no timer in the silver category, it'll even out with 1T in the silver category. But if it's in the silver category against golden 1T, it has no chance. It's still gold overpasses silver, but silver is even with silver and gold is even with gold. I hope I'm making sense. So that's how the attributes work. That's how I think they work, and that's how it's proven to work. So that's the 1T build. Alright, so that's all my builds. Okay, I have multiple builds. You guys can adjust them however you want. If you still, in your head, think that speed matters, then put speed up by all means, because it'll help you with 5-hole. So I don't really care what you guys think, but I know the truth. And weight is the new movement. Weight is kind of like how you would think agility and speed would work, but it's not really, because it still doesn't help you with speed, like physical speed left and right. But it's kind of like the same way that cameras work. Let's say you have like a really high camera. Actually, I'm going to show you this right now. This is also important. This weight is kind of like how cameras work, and how stance works, and how all of that works. It's kind of like your brain, but also seems to be physical. So I'll show you what I mean. All right. So let's say I have Alright, let me go to a really high up camera. I'm sorry if this video is gonna be very slow. I'm not gonna edit this video too much. I don't feel like it. Alright, so let's go to the camera. Let's use overhead. Alright, so look at my goalie. Now, it's hard to notice in a video, but I challenge you guys to go on your Xbox as soon as you can. Go to any build with any weight, any speed, however you imagine speed matters. And I want you to move around with the overhead camera against the computer or in the game or whatever. You'll feel so slow. You just feel slow. Like, and I know why this is, and I'll explain it later. So you just feel slow, okay? Now let's go to the low camera. Alright, so we go in to the low camera. Alright, notice the difference. Notice the difference. My guy feels so fast now. When you compare, your guy feels just so fast. He is moving left and right. It's the same speed, it's the same weight, but he just feels faster. It's just so weird. It's the same with stance. I challenge you to use stance 56 or something, and you'll let in a lot more goals. Even though it supposedly doesn't mess with your animations or whatever, it definitely does mess with movement. But even though it doesn't mess with your animations at all, you just feel like you're much worse with stance 56 or higher stance. But then when you go to stance 49 and you feel like you're in much better position, you feel like you're saving things much smoother. Look at these saves. Like this is the same speed as if it was a 77 or whatever. So speed doesn't matter, and I've proven it twice. But I know some people are watching this will still believe speed matters and they will never believe me, but I don't care. I know the truth. I'm just trying to tell you what's happening. That was a crazy, weird goal. So that just shows speed doesn't affect speed, weight doesn't affect speed, agility doesn't affect speed, nothing affects speed. Weight doesn't, height doesn't affect speed, nothing. All builds physically are the same speed. But when you're doing a push, it's either, is it a little push, or am I moving far with higher, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. So like, let's say you have lower weight, you just feel like your pushes are further. With higher weight, you just feel much more clunky and you just don't feel, but you're also more controlled with higher weight. So that's just the contrast. That's why I have at 214, because it's kind of like a middle ground. I know you would think 200 would be a middle ground, but I just like 214 a lot because I like the control, but it's still not so exaggerated to where it's super clunky. Now I'll tell you this. So this is where the movement starts to change. About 180. Now I don't really know this for a fact yet, but I think about 180 to about 186 is when it's all the same level. Then after 186, you move into the next level of movement. So now your movement feels tiny bit more controlled, all the way up to like 200. Okay, and then 201 all the way up to 210. And then 211 up to 216, and then 216 to 220. It's very weird. I want you guys to write all of my words down. But I haven't really tested it all completely yet. But I've been testing out a lot of different weights and seeing which weight changes, when it changes the movement. It's very hard because you got to go through a bunch of points. But either way, whatever it is, whenever it changes, I'm still using 214 or 213. So, but the only exception for 1T is 200. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video was a lot longer than I thought it would be, but I had to explain a lot. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll let you guys know in the community post if anything changes, and I will update the videos as such. See you guys next time. Goodbye.